So everyone has one. What are these? Snakes. Now, we are not becoming a snake-handling church, so I thought we would have some cutout snakes because it's easier to use cutout snakes than the real things, right? Well, what we have found throughout time is that people have looked at snakes as signs of evil. We find in the beginning of the Bible the story of the Garden of Eden, where the snake tells Eve to eat the apple and she gains knowledge. We find that the snake is often seen as a representation of bad things. But what we find is, Jesus quoting our first reading today when he says, Moses took the serpent, which is a snake, and he lifted it up high in the wilderness. Now, why do you think that Moses would lift up the snake high? So that people could do what? Look at it. They can see it, right? And Jesus is telling Nicodemus, just like when Moses lifted up high the snake so that everybody can see it, soon I will be lifted up so that everybody can see what I have done. And Jesus will be lifted up high on the cross so that everyone who witnesses where he has gone and hears of his story can remember what he has done for us. Now, we're in this time of Lent, and Lent can be a season where we're doing a lot of reflection on how we can improve. What are some bad things that we're doing in our life that we want to make better, right? But we're at the halfway point, and sometimes what we call this halfway point is Refreshment Sunday. So I'm going to tell you this story. There's this really famous thinker who is a leader in the church. And he's going to come to this small community, and they are excited that he's coming. And you know, they have done everything to prepare. They've got a great meal. They're going to have a wonderful occasion together. But the biggest thing that they have done is this. They said, this person is very wise. I want to think of what questions I want him to answer. So people from your size to adults, people of all ages, have been thinking for months what question we're going to ask this very wise leader in the church. And so he comes in, and the first thing that he does is he gets an introduction. This is so-and-so. He's very smart because of this. And everyone claps and is excited. But then the time comes that he's going to talk to all the people. And you know what he does? He just starts to walk around and hum. Do any of y'all hum? Yeah. How about out here? Does anybody hum? Just to hum for hum's sake? Yeah. Hum is very comforting, especially when you start to hum something that's familiar and then other people start to hum it too. It kind of creates this emotion of joy in people because they're like, oh, I know that tune. And they begin to hum it. Have you ever hummed a tune? No? No? So if someone started to hum a little tune like this, what is that? Humming? You know what song that might be? What do you think? The Mickey Mouse Club? It could be. I was going for the Happy Birthday song, the most well-known song in the world. So I am not this wise leader, right? So he begins to hum this song, and people typically recognize the song, unlike with me. And as he's humming and everyone's humming along, then he starts to walk around and he starts to dance. And as he dances, people come up to their feet and they start to dance with him. Do any of y'all like to dance? A little bit? Come on. Come on. Now, I'm not going to look, but if I ask the people behind me if they like to dance, how many hands do you see up? How many hands? You see a couple of hands? We got a couple. One dancer's. It's contagious. It's spreading, isn't it? So he starts to dance, and then before you know it, people are humming and people are dancing. And this long period of time goes on, but you know what he starts to see in people's faces? Smiles. How can you not dance and hum a tune that everyone knows without smiling? And as the dancing comes to a place, he begins to slow down. He begins to lower his volume. And we have to remember, people have been waiting to ask him these questions for a long time. And he finally comes to a place where he stops the dance. And he looks at every person in the eye and he says, I trust that all the questions you've had for me have now been answered. But did he answer any questions?
No.
What do you think happened? He didn't answer any? But what is the feeling and what is the experience that they've had? Is it of joy? Is it of being a community? We're in this time of Lent as we're preparing for when Jesus will die, but it's a chance for us to take a step back and to remember that God wants us to be joyful, and God wants us to know how much joy there is in the world. So let's talk about what happens today. These folks called the Israelites are out in the desert, and they are hungry. Now, whoever gets upset when you're hungry? Yeah. So they're hungry, and then they start grumbling, and they start pointing fingers at this man named Moses, and they say, Moses, you have brought us out into the desert. There's nothing to eat, and there's nothing to drink. Although they say, we just don't like the food that you gave us to eat. Okay? Has anyone ever complained about the food you've been given to eat? Yeah. So they're complaining about everything, and they're pointing fingers at Moses, and they say, you have brought us out into this desert. And you know what started to happen to them? They were hollering and yelling so much that it got the snakes all worked up. And you know what the snakes did when they got all worked up? They bit them. And when they were bitten, they were like, oh man, maybe the snakes are biting us because we are complaining against Moses and we're complaining against God. And so Moses takes a snake and he lifts it up high on the cross, and what happens is it gets them to start to look upward. And it also gets them to start thinking about what they are thankful for. And when they look upward, even if they were bitten by the snake, they were healed. Isn't that amazing? And Jesus recalls this story today and says, just like Moses lifted up the snake in the wilderness and everybody was healed, I'm going to heal you too, that when I'm on the cross, because I'm taking all the complaints of the world on my shoulder, I'm taking all the ways that you have pointed fingers at other people, and I'm going to bring you back into a life where you find happiness. So I want you to stand up. Stand up. I'm going to invite the congregation to stand up too. Now, I'm going to teach you just a simple little song, and I would like for you to repeat after me, and then we're going to run through it, okay? And when we say the word dance, it is very important that you clap as hard as you can. Are we ready? Okay. So it goes like this. Repeat after me first, and then we'll do it. So it goes, dance, dance, wherever you may be. I am the Lord, of the dance, said he. And I will lift you up, wherever you may be. I am the Lord, of the dance, said he. Okay, we ready? So we clap when we say dance, and we're going to sing through it. Now, if you miss the place where we are, that's fine. If you feel moved by the Spirit, that is okay. All right, you ready? Dance, dance, wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and will lift you up. Wherever you may be, will lift you up, said the dance, said he. You going to try again? Now, when you do it this time, I want you to see if you could do a little bit of a shake like this. All right. Now, I'm not going to look behind me, but you have to look and see if they can do it. This is a big test. All right? Ready? Dance, dance, wherever you may be. I am the Lord of the dance, said he, and I'll lift lift you up. Wherever you may be, and I'll lift you up, said the dance, said he. Now, here is the test. Now, get up high up on the stage up here. Get up here so you can look out. Now, I want you to look out and see if you see any smiles out there. Do you see any smiles? Now, look behind you. You got some? Are we seeing more smiles than people that raised their hands when they said they would dance? All right. So, now we are going to get a chance to say why we do all this. Why we come to church, why we gather as a community. It's a way for us to leave the busyness of the world around us, to leave all the grumbling that might take place for us to get here, especially on this kind of day, because I am so proud of everyone here because we lost an hour last night. And even in losing an hour, we're still all able to come to church today and to be a community where we can find God's joy. Because God can show us the greatest joy. And if we forget that joy, then we can become complaining and find ourselves biting each other like snakes, right? All right. Let's say together our creed. Are we ready? I believe in God above. I believe in Jesus' love. I believe His Spirit too comes to teach me what to do. I believe that I should be kind and loving, Lord, like you. Great job. Let's give them a hand for their attention.